Absolutely. Here's a powerful, deep, and emotionally charged opening in the style of Eric Thomas, designed to immediately grab your audience's attention, shake their mindset, and convince them to listen all the way through this speech on 17 habit steps to train your memory and learn faster. No holding back, this is full force. Listen to me. Don't play with this one. Don't scroll. Don't halfway tune in while you do something else. I'm talking directly to the one who's tired of forgetting what they read, tired of starting over, tired of watching others level up while they stay stuck. If that's not you, cool, but if that is you, I need you locked in all the way. You keep asking why you can't remember, why you can't retain, why it feels like everybody's passing you, like their brains are wired different. You think it's genetics, you think it's intelligence, you think they got some gift you don't. Let me tell you something right now. That's a lie. That's a story you've been telling yourself so you don't have to take full responsibility. It's not about being smarter, it's about moving different. It's about habits. You hear me? Habits, daily decisions, intentional steps. You don't need a photographic memory. You need a system. You need strategy. You need to train your brain like it's a championship athlete. And you can, starting today, but I'm warning you, this ain't surface level. I'm not giving you some random tips and tricks to hack your memory. That's YouTube junk. I'm giving you 17 habits that will transform the way you learn, the way you focus, the way your mind operates. This is about mental performance. It's about mastering the machine between your ears. You want to grow your business, learn faster. You want to lead your family, remember what matters. You want to dominate in your career. Absorb, apply, and advance quicker than the rest. This speech is not for entertainment. This is for elevation. So if you're ready to stop letting your potential collect dust, if you're ready to train your mind like your future depends on it, then stay right here. Don't blink, don't miss one word, because after this, you will never approach learning the same way again. You say you want to learn faster. You say you want to build a sharper memory, but you don't even realize your biggest enemy is the chaos you've normalized. You're trying to grow with distractions all around you. You're trying to elevate your thinking in a low-frequency environment. You're trying to focus in a space that's not even built for discipline, it's built for dopamine. And you wonder why it's not sticking. You wonder why the books you read feel like water slipping through your fingers. You wonder why your motivation fades 5 minutes after the video ends. Let me help you. It starts with your focus. It starts with your environment. That's the first habit. You got to master the atmosphere before you master the mind. You can't train your memory in a circus. You can't grow your mind where chaos lives. Some of you are trying to study in the same room where you waste hours scrolling. You're trying to lock in at the same desk where you game, where you gossip, where you daydream. No, that place is contaminated. The moment you sit down, your brain doesn't associate it with growth. It associates it with escape. You gotta create a space that commands focus. A space where the only thing that happens is discipline. When you step into that zone, your mind has to know it's time to work, it's time to retain, it's time to elevate. I'm talking about shutting doors, literally and figuratively. Turn your phone off, put it in another room. Shut down the tabs that don't serve your goal. Stop letting notifications lead your attention like a leash. You're a grown adult being pulled around by vibrations and pop-ups. That's not freedom. That's not focus. That's noise, and memory does not grow in noise. Discipline doesn't survive in chaos. You want to learn faster, cut the noise. You want to retain better, kill the distractions. It's not about more hours. It's about more presence in the hours you already have. You've got to train your focus like a muscle, because that's what it is. Every time you pull your attention back to the task, back to the page, back to the moment, you are building it. And just like the gym, the reps you skip are the strength you never gain. Most people have memory problems not because they're incapable of remembering, but because they never actually gave the information a fighting chance. They were half there, half scrolling, half awake, half committed. You can't build anything with half. You gotta go all in mentally, physically, emotionally locked in, and don't get it twisted. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about creating a daily environment that fuels your memory instead of fighting it. Wake up and control your space. Set a time for deep focus. Respect that time like a meeting with your future, because that's what it is. Every time you sit down and focus, really focus, you are meeting your future self. You are laying bricks for a mind that doesn't forget, that doesn't fold, that doesn't fumble opportunities. And if you're thinking, I don't have time, let me flip that. You don't have time not to do this. You've been wasting days relearning what you forgot, rereading what didn't stick, restarting what never got finished. That's what happens when you don't control your focus. You lose time, you lose progress. You lose momentum, but the moment you build the habit of locking in, of showing up with full attention, you become dangerous. Because now you retain, now you execute. Now you move faster than the rest. Not because you're smarter, but because you're more present. Focus is the gateway. It's the bridge between where you are and what you're trying to become. Without it, all 16 other habits collapse. So before you try any fancy technique, before you buy another course or read another book, fix the foundation. Fix your focus. Build an environment that pushes you to grow instead of pulling you back to comfort. That's where transformation begins. You want to train your memory and learn faster, then show up like it matters. Every time you ever wonder why you can hear something 10 times and still forget it, you ever read a whole chapter and can't remember a single sentence the next day, that's not a memory issue, that's a method issue. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about your IQ or your grades in school. It's about how you store the information. You're trying to memorize cold facts with no emotion, no imagery, no connection. And your brain don't work like that. The mind doesn't remember information just because you want it to. It remembers what it feels, what it sees, what it connects. So if you're not using mental anchors, if you're not turning dry information into something real, something vivid, you're wasting your time. Let me break it down. The brain is like Velcro for meaning, but Teflon for randomness. You can't just dump data in and expect it to stick. You gotta attach it to something that matters, something your brain already values, already recognizes. That's why stories are powerful. That's why metaphors work. That's why a person can remember a song lyric from 10 years ago, but not the name of the person they just met. It's not magic. It's memory mechanics. That lyric was connected to a moment. That name, you didn't anchor it to anything. You let it float, and anything that floats will eventually fall out. You've got to train yourself to see more than what's in front of you. Turn every fact into a picture, every idea into a scene, every number into a rhythm. That's how the greats do it. You think top performers just have better brains? No, they've got better systems. They visualize. They attach. They link. You want to remember a new concept. Picture it like a movie playing in your head. You want to remember a list. Make it a crazy, wild story where each item is a character or object. You want to remember a speech. Walk through it in your mind like a house with each point in a different room. You train like that, and now your memory isn't random, it's designed. And I know some of you are thinking, man, that sounds silly. Yeah, it might look silly at first. But what's really silly is reading the same thing 5 times and forgetting it again next week. What's silly is letting months pass without real growth because you didn't take the time to change how you process. Stop worrying about looking smart. Start doing what works. This isn't about ego. This is about execution. You want to retain information. You want to make it real. Then stop memorizing like a machine and start remembering like a human. Use color, use movement, use emotion. Get your senses involved. Make it unforgettable. Let me tell you something. Repetition without meaning is just noise. But when you give your brain something to hold on to, something that makes sense, something that has weight, now we're working with fire. Now you're building memory that doesn't fade. You're creating grooves in your mind so deep that the knowledge has no choice but to stay. That's how you train your brain to learn faster. You're not forcing it. You're feeding it, and here's the kicker. You already do this in real life. You remember faces. You remember songs. You remember the route to your childhood home. Why? Because it had depth. It had layers. It had emotion. So why not bring that same energy to your learning? Why not give every lesson the same intensity? Why not build a habit of connecting every piece of information to something real? Because once you do that, you stop forgetting, you stop second guessing, you stop going backward, you start compounding your growth. Day after day, year after year, this isn't theory, this is a weapon. This is how you turn your brain into a vault. This is how you stop leaking knowledge and start locking it in. If you want to be dangerous, if you want to be unstoppable, then don't just hear it, see it. Feel it, live it. That's how you make it stick. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Just knowing the information isn't enough. Just reading the book isn't enough. Just watching the video, highlighting the notes, writing the flashcards, that's not what separates the ones who learn fast from the ones who stay stuck. It's not about how much you take in, it's about how much you apply. How much you live what you learn. You want to train your memory. You want to retain what you study and move with it like it's part of who you are. Then you've got to make learning active. You've got to make it real. Too many people are stuck in passive mode. They collect knowledge like it's a hobby. They read book after book, course after course, but they never apply it. They never test it. They never stretch it into something practical. And so it disappears. Because the brain doesn't care about what you touch once. It cares about what you use, what you revisit, what you teach. So the third habit is simple, but it's everything. If you want to learn faster, if you want to remember more, you've got to apply what you learn, repeat it often, and teach it like your name depends on it. You can't wait to feel ready. You can't wait until the timing's perfect. You've got to move. You've got to take what you just read or what you just watched and do something with it today. Not next week, not next semester, not when life calms down now, because action is the glue of memory. When you use what you learn, your brain registers it as valuable. It says, okay, this matters. We need to keep this. We need to store this deep. But when you sit on it, when you let it collect dust, that's when it fades. That's when it slips away like it was never there. And don't get it twisted. Repetition alone isn't enough either. Mindless repetition is just busy work. What you need is intentional repetition. You need to come back to the idea from different angles. See it in a new light. Put it into a new context. If you read something about leadership, don't just quote it, practice it. Lead something, take initiative, make the decision. If you learn a new strategy, test it, build with it, reflect on how it went. That's how you create depth. That's how the knowledge becomes yours. Now, here's where it gets powerful. When you take what you've learned and teach it, that's next level memory training right there. Because when you teach something, you've got to break it down. You've got to explain it. And to explain it, you've got to understand it. Teaching forces you to simplify, to organize your thoughts, to connect the dots. It doesn't matter if you teach one person or 100. Just saying it out loud, just walking someone else through the idea. That burns it into your brain in a whole new way. This is how you stop forgetting. This is how you lock it in. You learn it, you use it, and you teach it. You repeat the cycle until it's second nature. You repeat it until people start asking you the questions. That's when you know you're operating different. That's when you know you've built something deeper than memory. You've built ownership. You've got to stop separating knowledge from action. You've got to stop treating learning like a phase and start treating it like a lifestyle. This isn't about reading more, it's about living sharper. It's about waking up every day and asking, what did I learn yesterday? And what am I doing with it today? That question alone can change your trajectory. That one habit can create so much compound growth. You'll look back in 6 months and barely recognize yourself. I'm telling you, real learners don't wait for permission. They don't wait for clarity. They learn it, then live it. They stretch it, test it, tweak it, fail with it, get back up, and own it. And once it becomes part of their rhythm, part of their daily grind, that's when memory becomes automatic. That's when learning becomes permanent. You want to train your brain to remember, then stop sitting on information. Start standing on it. Start moving with it. Because when learning becomes action, memory becomes unstoppable. You want to train your memory. You want to learn faster. But your body is exhausted. Your brain is foggy. And you're living like your mind doesn't need fuel. You're walking around wondering why you can't stay sharp, why you forget what you just studied, why the energy crashes hit halfway through the day, and you think it's a discipline issue, but it's deeper than that. It's not just your study habits that need work, it's your lifestyle. You can't expect mental clarity from a body that's running on fumes. This isn't just about books and focus. It's about how you live. Because your body and your mind, they're not separate systems. They are one, and when you don't take care of one, the other suffers. Some of you are showing up to learn with no sleep, no water, no movement, and you wonder why you can't retain anything. You're trying to build mental performance on top of a broken foundation. That's like trying to race a car that hasn't had an oil change in years. It might start, but it's not going far. You've got to treat your brain like an elite athlete treats their body, because your mind is your instrument. And if it's foggy, sluggish, or tired, no technique in the world is gonna save you. No study method, no memory hack, no fancy app. What you need is real energy, not fake motivation. And real energy comes from how you treat your body every single day. Let's start with sleep, not naps, not half. Nights, sleep, deep, uninterrupted, consistent sleep. You think you're grinding by staying up till 3 a.m., but all you're doing is weakening your memory. When you sleep, your brain processes everything it took in during the day. That's when it files the information. That's when the learning sticks. When you rob yourself of sleep, you're robbing yourself of retention. You're working twice as hard for half the results. Rest is not weakness, it's strategy. It's part of the training, and then there's hydration. Simple but powerful. Your brain is mostly water. Your thoughts, your memory, your focus. It all runs on hydration. Most of you are walking around dehydrated, wondering why your thinking feels slow. Fix that. Carry the water bottle. Drink before the coffee. Start your morning by giving your brain what it needs. That's not extra. That's basic. That's the floor, not the ceiling. Now let's talk movement. I'm not saying you have to be in the gym 3 hours a day. I'm saying move your body. You sit for 8 hours, then you wonder why your brain is sluggish. Movement boosts blood flow to the brain. It clears mental cobwebs. It resets your state. You take a 10-minute walk, you stretch, you breathe. It's not a break from learning, it's part of it. You want breakthroughs, get out of the chair. Move your body and your brain will move with it. But it's not just physical. It's what you put in your body too. You fuel up on sugar, junk, and caffeine highs, and then crash by noon, and you're shocked that your memory can't keep up. What you eat either sharpens you or slows you. Whole foods, clean fuel, meals that serve your performance, not your cravings. That's how you show up strong. That's how you build a mind that's ready for the work. And yeah, this takes discipline, but not the kind that burns you out, the kind that builds you up. Because once you get this right, once you make your health part of your learning strategy, everything changes. You retain more, you focus longer, you execute better, you show up ready, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You stop dragging your brain through the day and start driving it. This is what separates the good from the great. The greats don't just study hard. They live smart. They take care of the system. They know that how they sleep, move, and eat is part of how they lead, how they grow, how they win. So stop acting like your body doesn't matter. Stop trying to outlearn poor habits. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being aligned. Every habit counts. Every decision compounds. You want a better memory? Build a better lifestyle. You want to learn faster? Then treat your brain like it's worth something, because it is.